It's about a minute after 8 o'clock on the Sunday morning. Thank you so much for staying with us here on the South African Morning on eNCA, Channel 403. I'm Faith Nqobile.
And I'm Nqobile, and we're going to be with you until 9 o'clock. And of course, as we've been doing for the last hour and a half or so, bringing you these details of harrowing scenes, of course, in Soweto this morning, where 14 people have lost their lives, 13 of them on the scene, and one, we believe, lost their life in hospital. Shot and killed were these people at a tavern in Orlando. 23 were shot at, of course, 14 now having lost their lives, 3 still in critical condition. This as it's the information we have at the moment. But we do have our reporter Nqobile Madlala, who is on the scene, and we're going to go back to her now. Good morning once again, Nqobile. Just one of the things I think we wanted to find out previously was whether the bodies are still on the scene.
Well, from what we had seen, Morena, just as we were reporting, just across, you saw that forensics was still there. Yes, we could identify some of the people, but we were told that they now have been moved from the scene. We understand that they're saying 2 already have been moved. We understand, though, that they're still busy. From what we have heard from the people speaking to us, they're telling us about 10 people are still inside the tavern, but 2 have already been moved. But of course, we heard from some of the families a little earlier on, Morena, just the emotion telling us how they are affected by what has occurred in this area. Now, we understand that the PC also is inside, so we wanted to speak to him to hear what is going on, but it seems he's gone back inside. Oh, there's a PC. Let's try and see if we can get the PC. PC, can we speak to you? Okay, so PC, of course, has been inside. Provisional Commissioner Elias Mawela has been inside. We understand that he's got a lot of information that he has had to speak to the police about. PC, quite horrific scenes to deal with in the morning?
Yes, indeed. It's a bad scene. When you see how the bodies are piled up there, you could see that every one of those people were struggling to get out of the of the tavern there. It was so difficult for them, but my detectives, led here by my deputy, Major General Mbuso Khumalo, he have assembled a very good team. I have no doubt in my mind that with the cooperation of the community here, giving us information, we'll be able to crack this case.
And you say there are bodies piled up. Exactly how many are in there and how many have been moved from here?
2 have already been moved, and we have 10 here and 2 at Baragwanath. And we also have 9 victims who are still being treated there. Our worry is that 3 of those are also in the critical condition. We are hoping that they make it.
PC, do we know what happened yet?
No, the primary investigation suggests that these people, they were enjoying themselves here. The tavern is a licensed tavern. It was still operating within the operational hours. So all of a sudden they heard some gunshots. That's when people trying to run out of the tavern and so forth. So for now, we don't have the details, what is the motive, but as investigation progresses, we are hoping that we'll get more information as to what is the motive and why targeting these people. You can see that high caliber firearm was used and it was shooting randomly, so.
Well, PC, we heard from some of the families, and they're saying to us that they've heard also, it's rumors, that the people that came here came in a quantum and they just came out and they started shooting randomly at people. Have you spoken to anyone who has seen or heard to confirm such things?
Yes, like I'm saying that, excuse me, our detectives are hard at work interviewing the witnesses and so forth. So all these pieces of information we are gathering here, including that one of the quantum, it will be followed through. But for now, it's piece and bits of information which we are gathering. And my team, whoever is having a little bit of information, then it's been taken aside, interviewed, collect information, statements, and then we follow it through. We won't leave any stone unturned.
Well, that's indeed, I'm sure everybody here would like to hear that that everything is going to come up. But PC, just quickly before we let you leave, we just want to know, have you spoken to the families? Are you warning them of what happened here? Is there any way they're going to get any assistance?
That's why we haven't spoken to them. Because remember, we have our own process of identifying the dead bodies. They must be taken to the morgue there, and then the families, they have to go and personally identify their loved ones and tell who are these people and so forth. Thereafter, then we'll know when we start engaging the family that we are talking to the real family members of the deceased. Because here, anybody can simply say to us, I'm the member of the family, I'm the next of kin. You talk to this individual, you'll end up even telling the suspect. Yes.
And lastly, PC, I know I said I'm going to let you go, but just lastly, do we know if this was a one person that maybe started shooting? Was it numerous people? Did they have all guns or just one gun?
The primary investigations suggest that there may be more than one suspect. And also when you look at the number of cartridges you see on the ground, you could see that, no, it was a group of people. Yes.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
That's Provincial Commissioner Elias Mawela. Of course, he's about to speak to also the other media, and he says what's important there, you'll hear Morena, he says that anyone can be family, so they can't start disseminating the information to everybody, but they are trying to investigate as much as they can. So we're just going to walk around to still show you what is still happening here. So the investigations, of course, still happening. People in Soweto have come up in their numbers, of course, to see what happened here. We heard from some of the people that live around the area that this is quite an area that has had issues with people just randomly shooting with people randomly shooting at each other at night, but nobody knows exactly what happens. They hear gunshots and all sort of things, but people just concerns, of course, in terms of safety. We're going to see if we can't speak to anyone here to hear what they heard, but I think the PC just explaining to us that there's a lot of investigation that is still ongoing. Let's see if we can get anyone here to speak to us. Sanbonan, sicela ukukhuluma nani. Sifuna nje ukuza ukuthi nizweni nibonene.
Mama, ngizothi ukuza kwami nebengilele. Bekoma 11 ebusuku. Ngendlela abesisho ngayo ubuzizwa nje ukuthi kuyaliwa ngendlela engayo siyabulala sisho emntwini. Yabo wafika kumshana nami la koma 212 ezongivusa mangifika impela nami umshana nami ulele.
Oh baba, umshana wakho ungakanani?
Umshana moka 87. Njengoba ngikhuluma nje ulele khona lapha la. Baningi kukhona nosibali wami. Baningi abanye abangakithi abaningi futhi yabona inkinga ngakithi iyona lelele lapha wesisi. Iningi kakhulu.
Kodwa manje baba mangabe sekunje kuthiwana
sisazo yabona kusaduma ikhanda njengongibona nje bengimekuthiwa ngemsebenzini angiyanga yabo saphithene yayibona sisazo uhlala phansi sibone ukuthi izinto masijezithiwane ngoba asikazi.
Baba la indawo enjani le indawo evele ejwayele ukuba nezibhamu?
Le ndawo lena yayingavinje isikhathi phambili isimoshakele manje yabo ngoba ukuthi nobuhleli ngaboma 7 to 6 ibhamu ziyasho ziyaphikisana yabo ubona ukuthi asisaphephile isikhathi phambili beyingavinje la inomzamo park ibipholile yaziwa imoshakele manje yabo ngendlela engayi ibolile akazi ukuthi ingalunga kanjani.
Baba mongasixoxele nje ngosibali wakho nomshana wakho beba abantu abanjani?
Umshana abantu bebeziphuzela beyazifanela nje bena usibali kodwa bongeke umuzwe umuntu wakhona ethi ngqi emntwini uzobathola bezihlekela mina bebengazi ke mangithi hayi ngithi hayi yabo angazi ukuthi bazani mabenza lento zabo ngithi ngisathi hayi kubani yabo akekho umuntu engizasho kuye.
Ubaba baqhamukaphi?
Siqhamuka emzimkhulu lesiqhamuka khona.
Mhlambe zikhona nje insolo zokuthi kwenzakaleni la kungani bebadubulile?
Asinazo noba sathi ukuganga kwabantu noba sizothi kwenzakaleni asinazo asazi saphithena amakhanda ingakho nje bangisho.
Ake sithi dudu nje kunina baba siyabonga.
Siyabonga.
Well, Morena, that gentleman there, he says he lost his nephew and also his brother-in-law. He's just explaining that they heard the gunshots and one of his family members came to wake him up. He was supposed to be at work, but he hasn't gone to work because he's come to see what's happening in the scene. But he claims, of course, that he's lost 2 people. He says they were quite friendly people. They were out to have fun. And he says this area used to be safe, but it no longer is. He says there's quite a lot of gunshots that they get to hear in this area, especially at night. He says Nomzamo Park used to be a safe area, but it's changing. But of course, he says he is still going to hear more in terms of what happened, but he says he's not going to go to work. He wants to hear what happened in this area. But very sad indeed. He says they come from KZN. And this is where, of course, they live. He says, it's quite difficult for him. You can just see as you speak to him, you can see the emotions, his eyes turning red, you can see glasses in his eyes. It cannot be easy to wake up to such.
I can imagine. Nqobile, before we let you go, what do we know about the tavern owners? We have not seen or heard anything from them as yet. Can they be counted amongst those that are deceased? Are they still inside? Do we know who the tavern owners are? Who owns that establishment? And what do we know about these people?
Well, that's very important, but because the PC is still outside, I think it might be worth it to rather ask him from the official word to hear such things. But very important indeed. I want to bring in the PC because he's still here, and maybe we can still steal his 2 minutes to tell us this. PC, sorry to disturb you again. We just want to ask you about the tavern owner. Do we know if the tavern owner was part of the people that got shot at? Are they still around? Are you speaking to them?
No, the tavern owner is not here. It's out of the province. But the manager is here. It's one of the witnesses. Our detectives, they'll still have to interview him.
All right. Yeah. Do we know if any of his relatives are around? Were they around? Did they see anything?
No. For now, we don't know. Yeah, but as time goes on, when we interview everybody there, then we'll be in the position to can establish whether the relatives are also part of that.
Thank you very much. Well, Provincial Commissioner there still, of course, saying that the investigations are ongoing. But I think what's important there, of course, you can hear their faith. They're saying that the tavern owner is out of the province. But, of course, they will find out more in terms of what happened in the establishment.
All right, Nqobile, we will leave it there with you for now, of course, as you continue yourself to try and find as much information as you possibly can, as do the police who are on scene there. So, of course, that is our reporter, Nqobile Madlala, who is at the Nomzamo informal settlement in Orlando. Of course, we do believe, if we are seeing our visuals correctly, that that place is called Mhlalose's Place. Emazulwini, of course, is one of what one of the patrons says it is known as. As per the update coming, of course, from the police commissioner, Elias Mawela, 10 bodies are still in the tavern. 2 of them have been removed. We do, of course, then also know that 9 people are at the Baragwanath hospital receiving treatment. About 3 of them are still in critical condition. But as per the figures where the loss of life is concerned, 14 people have died, of course, after this particular mass tragedy, this massacre, this mass shooting, where we do understand that the assailants used high caliber weaponry, and as per the cartridges that are being seen, or at least the ammunition that is being seen on the scene, that of course there were more than one person who opened fire in that particular tavern. Motive for this killing, we are still yet to find out.
Absolutely, and it's quite a devastating story to be waking up to on this Sunday morning.